And that was also Patrick Swayze. Some of you might remember him. He was a star of a movie called Dirty Dancing. He was Pastor Greg's favorite actor. Did you know that? And I just found this out last night, but I found out that Pastor Greg was the leader of his high school dance club. No wonder his son can dance pretty well, right? Wow, that's an amazing thing. We're going to have Evan lead our dance ministry here at our church. But in 1989, Patrick Swayze made this. I mean, he had it all. I mean, he was rich. He was famous. He had the moves. I mean, Dirty Dancing. And then in 1989, he made this shocking admission. Here's what he told the reporter. He said, quote, "I've always felt that there was something different in there." He's talking about his life. "I always felt that there was something different in there, but I was scared to look for fear I wouldn't find anything. And that's the reason I got into Buddhism and took EST training, was into therapy, into Scientology, and transcendental meditation." Here's a guy who had it all. He was on the top. He was at the top of his game and the top of his world. I mean, everybody knew who he was, but inside he was empty. He was just a shell. And so he embarked on this quest to fill the emptiness with Buddhism, with EST, with therapy, with transcendental meditation, with Scientology, and none of it worked. All these religious pursuits, none of it filled him. And then tragically in 2007, he was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Shortly before he died, Barbara Walters asked him if he was afraid. And here's what he said to her. He said, "Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, I'm asking why me. Yeah, I'm all this stuff, and you can bet that I'm going through hell." That's what he said. You see, there's something else that Patrick Swayze lacked, and that was joy. That was joy. I mean, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, how do you expect a guy who's had stage 4 cancer to have joy? Well, it's a good question, but here's the answer. True joy isn't based on your circumstances. It isn't based on your circumstances. True joy is based on knowing that God loves you. It's knowing that God is in control of your life. That's true joy. And I think about 6 years ago, there was a precious lady who attended our church. Her name was Jovita Salvador. Came to our church, and then we lost her. She got cancer, and she passed away. A few months before she died, went to be with the Lord, she wrote her sister in the Philippines this letter. And her family shared the letter with me. She says, you got to see what Mom wrote. And so I read the letter, and I thought, wow, this is amazing. And so I shared 2 of the lines from the letter at her funeral. But here's what she wrote in that letter. She said, quote, "For me, what is happening is a win-win situation. Being a Christian, I have joy in my heart." I mean, what a difference between what she said and what Patrick Swayze said. I mean, is she crazy? Is she insane? It's a win-win situation. I have joy in my heart. Yeah, it was because she had the Lord. It was a win-win because if God healed her, then that was a win. And then if he took her home, that was a win because then she'd be with him. It was a win-win. And so she, no matter what her circumstances were, she had joy. You know, in 1 Peter 1:1, the Apostle Peter explained where it is that we get joy, where it comes from. Take a look at 1 Peter 1, verse 8. The next verse, it says, "Though you have not seen him," the him refers to God or to Christ. "Though you have not seen him, you love him. Though you do not see him, you believe in him and rejoice with joy that is inexpressible and filled with glory." You know what I'm talking about because you work with people like that. You go to school with people like that. You live with people like that, and they just make miserable because they just have no joy. Well, that's the third trait of a spiritual zombie. They are joyless. You can write that one down. They have no joy. And part of it, I understand that. I get that. Because there's so little joy in the world today because of all the things that are going on in the world. I mean, these are difficult days that we're living in. I mean, there are joy stealers all over the place. We got joy stealers all over the place. Terrorists steal our joy. I mean, April 15th is coming. The tax man is going to steal your joy. Maybe this is serious. Maybe your spouse steals your joy. Maybe your husband or wife steals your joy. Maybe your kids steal your joy. Maybe your parents steal your joy. Maybe your boss robs you of your joy. Maybe the financial problems you're facing just takes away your joy. Maybe cancer has ripped away your joy. But it didn't rip away Jovita's joy. Didn't take her joy. because her joy wasn't based on her cancer or her circumstances. Her joy came from knowing that she had Christ and that if she died, she would go to heaven to be with him. And if somehow he healed her, then she would be here because of him. And I love what the Apostle Paul said about joy. Take a look at this next verse, 2 Corinthians 7:4. He said, in all our troubles, my joy knows no bounds. I love this verse. Take a look at it again. In all our troubles, my joy knows no bounds. I mean, Paul had all kinds of trouble. You think you have trouble in your life. You should read about his life. You should hear what goes on in his life. And he said, my joy knows no bounds. Can you say that? Can you say, my joy knows no bounds in spite of my circumstances?